I'm Jordan Belfort, and this is Sales School. So here's the deal. I picked a topic here that I really thought was interesting and that I thought would really be a great way to kind of sum up everything that we've accomplished and also why the straight line works so well, why you're getting the results that you're getting. I think it's really going to shed some light on that. So what I call this training here, I've come up with a name for it. It's called the Overarching Equations of the Straight Line. And I've mentioned this to you many times in passing. I say this is overarching equations. I said, like in the straight line, like what it does basically, it takes all these things that are operating behind the scenes. Like all these things that for someone like myself that's like a natural born world-class closer, like all these things that are going on in my head that automatically get coagulated and spit out the right way. What the straight line basically does, it takes into all these rules into account and then allows you to essentially operate within that universe of rules. These are crucial things that essentially must happen to influence someone. So the straight line essentially operates within these boundaries of like all these rules and allows you to move forward from lack of certainty to absolute certainty without breaking any of the rules. Because if you break any of the rules, right, what happens? Well, then you can't close. So essentially, what the straight line allows you to do is move someone from a state of uncertainty to a state of absolute certainty without violating a universal principle that would essentially break down the whole system. All right, that's the best way to describe it. So each one of these almost could be an intensive into itself. Seriously, I could focus for 1 hour on each one, but I want to kind of summarize it for you and give you, like, I think this is going to really help a lot of you understand sort of maybe if you're falling down in a certain area, or maybe just will help you because sometimes understanding why something works so well allows you to really focus even more in on those aspects and make you operate even with more efficiency. Makes sense? It really does. So notice by kind of peeling back the logic of it all, you say, oh my God, okay, I got to enhance that more. I got to focus on that more. So it's a different way of looking at things, but I think it's going to really help, all right? So I wrote them down here. I took time to prepare here, believe it or not, right? Okay, usually I don't. So the first overarching rule, okay, and this is not so much about how the straight line operates. It's really about how you become successful using the straight line, and also why you might not be as successful as you could be using the straight line. So the first rule, number one, is that we live in a world of duality. And that fucking hurts like hell to even lift my arm that much. Motherfucker. Oh, fuck. Okay? Which is why I'm getting surgery, right? We live in a world of duality, meaning there's two sides to every coin. Up, down. Yes, no. Start, stop. Ones, zeros. Light, dark, right? In fact, our whole entire economy, our world economy is based on ones and zeros, the digital world, right? So what does that mean in terms of your own success? Well, remember, you can't fully realize the greatest aspects of the straight line system, which is an outer world strategy, right? That's an outer world strategy that allows you to essentially move someone from a state of uncertainty to a state of absolute certainty. But you can't really capitalize on that unless you've also harnessed the inner world aspects of wealth and success, or sales success, so to speak, in this context. And this market kind of sucks, so let's ditch this one in favor of a red one now, right? So what do I mean by this? In other words, with the straight line system, and I use this metaphor in the past, it's a really good one, I think, right? Is that imagine that sales, right, at the highest level is the transference of emotion. That's what's happening. It's the transference of emotion. And the primary emotion that you're transferring is certainty, right? There's certainty about yourself, certainty about the product, and certainty about the company that stands behind the product, right? The 3 tenets, pretty basic stuff, right? And you're transferring that certainty to your prospect, right? So essentially, how does that actually happen? Where does that certainty come from? Does it come from the straight line? Does the straight line essentially create certainty and shows you how to transfer it to your prospect? Doesn't make sense. Think about that. Now, the straight line system itself allows you to transfer certainty to the prospect. You transfer certainty. But where does the certainty come from? The certainty comes from within you. In other words, at the beginning of a sale, you, the salesperson, you are absolutely certain. You're like this, you have this white hot certainty. You're damn sure your product is unbelievable. Best thing since sliced bread, right? You love what you got, and it oozes out of you. Now, again, we have different things like tonality and body language that allows us to express that. But what I'm trying to say here is that it starts with you, that you are in a state of certainty. And what's that? That's part of the inner game of success, to manage your emotional state. That's why if you're in a state of uncertainty, no matter how good you are at applying the straight line, you really can't close at a high level. You get that? In other words, you have to be in a state of certainty. You're absolutely certain about your product. And then what you do is you transfer that certainty to the prospect using the straight line.